Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are. The wine glass kept spinning on the white tablecloth. Not because I touched it, because she had slammed it down so hard the base whirled like it was trying to escape the table. Just like I was trying to escape the moment. Say it. Her voice slipped through clenched teeth. Her cheeks were flushed, but it had nothing to do with the wine. The restaurant had grown strangely quiet. Technically, we were still sitting at our table. But none of us were really there anymore. People at nearby tables had started glancing sideways. That subtle curious look strangers give when they sense something intimate collapsing in public. You could almost feel their attention buzzing in the air. And then I looked at him, Logan, sitting across from me like he was the centerpiece of the evening. His elbows rested casually on the table. His expensive shirt stretched tight across his shoulders. That kind of relaxed arrogance that comes from someone who never worries about hurting anyone. He met my eyes, smirked, then calmly tore a piece of bread and took another bite as if this dinner belonged to him. "You embarrassed him." Lenora hissed the words at me like I had just ruined a child birthday party. "You should apologize." I did not move. For a moment I could barely breathe. 2 hours earlier everything had looked different. This night was supposed to belong to us. A small romantic restaurant in downtown Seattle. A table beside the window with the city lights reflecting on the glass. I had reserved it almost a month earlier. A quiet evening to reconnect. To fix what had slowly begun breaking between us. She never said thank you. She never even noticed the effort. Instead, she walked into the restaurant with someone beside her. Logan. No warning. No explanation. Just a casual smile. "Hope you do not mind. He will join us." And suddenly the chair where the candlelight should have glowed was occupied by him. Now she was not asking. She was not explaining. She was demanding that I apologize to the man who had hijacked our evening like an honored guest. For a second I actually laughed. Not because anything was funny. Because I could not believe the reality in front of me. Because she looked completely serious. Because somewhere deep inside I knew I had allowed this to happen. I had ignored too many small moments. Too many strange silences. Too many times when something inside me whispered that something was wrong. I slowly stood up from the table. I did not yell. I did not slam my hands against the table. My voice stayed calm, quiet, but loud enough for both of them to hear. "Choose, right now, him or me." Lenora blinked in shock, like she had never imagined I would actually say something like that. Like the quiet man she had grown used to suddenly developed a spine. Logan leaned back in his chair, still chewing slowly. Amusement flickered across his face like I had just added entertainment to an otherwise dull night. I did not wait for her answer. I turned and walked out of the restaurant. My heart was racing. My hands felt cold. Questions screamed through my mind. I had no idea where I was going. I only knew one thing. I could not stay there. And what happened after that? Well, let us just say she made her decision. But she had absolutely no idea what I already knew. No idea what I had seen earlier that day. And definitely no idea what I was about to do next. I did not walk far. Just across the street. There was a small bench facing the restaurant windows. I sat down, slowly staring at my reflection in the dark glass. Inside the restaurant I could still see them. Lenora twisting her napkin nervously. Logan stretching his arms behind his head like a man who had just won a trophy. For a moment I waited, stupidly, hoping she might come running out the door. 5 minutes passed, then 10. At one point I even reached for my phone. My thumb hovered over her name, but I never pressed it. Instead I opened the photo I had taken earlier that day. The photo I was never supposed to see, because this night had not appeared out of nowhere. No. The signs had been there for weeks, maybe even months. Small inconsistencies, stories that did not quite match. Late replies to messages. A sudden change in her phone screen. It used to be a picture of us. Now it was a quote about freedom and new beginnings. I hated myself for it. But one afternoon curiosity had finally won. I checked the shared photo album she had with Logan. She had forgotten to disable automatic syncing. And there it was, a picture taken 2 weeks earlier. A rooftop bar somewhere in Chicago. City lights glowing behind them. Lenora wearing the black dress she once told me she saved only for special nights with me. Logan standing very close, his hand hovering near her waist. But it was not the picture that hurt the most. It was the caption beneath it. To the nights we never have to explain. She believed the album was private. She believed I would never see it. But I did. And since that moment I carried that image in my pocket like a wound I was not ready to show anyone. Back on the bench I zoomed in on the photo again and again. Until the pixels blurred. Strangely, I was not furious. Not in the explosive movie kind of anger. No shouting. No violence. Just a heavy exhaustion. I was tired. Tired of asking for attention. Tired of pretending it did not hurt when I felt like a secondary option in my own relationship. Then my phone lit up. A message from Lenora. "Daryl, where did you go?" I did not answer. Another message appeared. "You embarrassed me tonight." I stared at the screen in disbelief. The third message arrived. "Logan thinks you are acting childish. We were trying to include you. Include me. In my own date night." And in that exact moment something inside my mind finally clicked. This was never really about Logan. It was about her certainty. She believed I would never leave. No matter what lines she crossed. No matter how humiliating things became. She believed I was too calm, too patient, too quiet. And maybe until tonight she had been right. So I typed a single message. "You made your choice. I will collect my things tomorrow." No question. No pleading. No desperate attempt to fix something built on sand. Then I turned off my phone. That night I barely slept. I lay awake on my friend's couch staring at the slow spinning fan on the ceiling. Shadows moved across the walls while memories replayed in my head. Every moment I ignored. Every time I told myself I was imagining things. Every time she smiled gently and said, "You are overthinking again." But I was not imagining anything. Not anymore. And the next morning, when I arrived at her apartment, something happened I never expected. The door was already open, and Logan was standing inside, smiling. The apartment door stood slightly open, just enough to see inside, just enough to reveal that Logan was already there. At first I thought he was alone. He leaned against the kitchen counter like he belonged there. One ankle crossed lazily over the other. In his hand was a ceramic mug, white with a cartoon octopus painted across the side. I recognized it instantly. Lenora had bought that mug during a trip we took to San Diego. The same trip where she told me she could imagine building a future together. Logan lifted the mug and took another sip. Then his eyes found me standing in the hallway. His grin appeared slowly, not surprised. Not confused. More like he had expected me all along. "Oh hey." He tilted the mug toward me in a mock greeting. "Did not think you would show up this early." I stepped inside slowly. My eyes scanned the apartment. Lenora was not visible, but her purse rested on the couch. Her high heels sat near the door exactly where she always kicked them off. That meant she was home. Somewhere. Probably in the bathroom. Or worse. In the bedroom. A quiet tension spread through my chest, but I forced my voice to remain steady. "Where is she?" Logan shrugged casually. Said she needed a moment. He smirked slightly. "She has been crying all morning. You really upset her last night." For a second I almost laughed. Upset her. I stared at this man. This uninvited parasite who had hovered around our relationship for years. Like a patient vulture waiting for something to die. And suddenly I wondered how I had allowed this situation to continue for so long. I came for my things. My voice sounded flat. Empty. Logan did not move. He took another sip from the mug. "You sure that is what you want?" That was when something cold slid through my chest. He was too comfortable. Too relaxed. This was not someone who had simply stayed the night after an argument. This was someone who had settled in, like the apartment already belonged to him. My eyes moved slowly around the room. An overnight bag sat beside the hallway closet. A phone charger plugged into the wall. A gray hoodie draped over the arm of the sofa. None of those things belonged to me. How long had he been here? Before I could speak again, footsteps echoed softly from the hallway. Lenora appeared behind him. She froze the moment she saw me. Her long dark hair was messy. Her eyes were red. Her lips cracked like she had spent hours crying. But what struck me most, she was wearing Logan's shirt. Not mine. Daryl. She whispered my name carefully as if approaching a wounded animal. She stepped toward me. I raised my hand slightly. Do not. The single word stopped her. Her mouth opened but nothing came out. For a moment she looked lost, like she was searching through a mental script that suddenly no longer worked. I came to collect my things. I repeated, this time louder, more certain. Logan glanced between us. You do not need to make this dramatic. We can talk about it like adults. That was the moment everything inside me shifted. Because suddenly I understood something clearly. This was not only betrayal. It was arrogance. Neither of them expected consequences. They expected patience. They expected me to accept everything quietly. Maybe even apologize for making the situation uncomfortable. I stepped forward slowly, deliberately. Both of them watched me carefully. Logan's eyes narrowed slightly. Maybe he thought I would explode. Maybe he thought I would throw a punch. Instead, I reached into my coat pocket. For a second, their bodies tensed, as if expecting a weapon. But what I pulled out was only an envelope. Plain, white. I placed it on the kitchen counter and slid it toward Logan. Give this to her, I said calmly. Do not worry. It is not a bomb. Just truth. Something neither of you seem very familiar with. Then I turned to Lenora. You do not need to worry about me anymore. You chose him. Just make sure he is still here when he gets bored. Her expression shifted. Confusion. Fear. Something else. But I did not stay long enough to understand it. I walked toward the door. Behind me I heard her voice. Daryl, wait. But I did not stop. Because inside that envelope was not a goodbye letter. Not accusations. Not a desperate explanation. Just one printed photograph. The rooftop photo. The one she believed was hidden. Underneath it I had written a single line in red ink. To the nights we never have to explain. Until now, I believed that would be the end. But it was not. Because 3 days later, her sister called me. And what she told me made everything far worse. I almost ignored the call. The name on my phone screen surprised me. Margaret Brock. Lenora's sister. We had never been close. At family dinners, she usually sat quietly scrolling through her phone, offering tight, polite smiles whenever conversations became tense. We had exchanged maybe 10 real sentences during the entire time Lenora and I were together. So when her name appeared on my screen 3 days after I walked away, I stared at it in confusion. The phone kept ringing. Once, twice, 3 times. I nearly let it go to voicemail. But something inside me shifted. I answered. Hello, Daryl. Her voice sounded rushed, almost breathless, like she had been pacing the room. Are you okay? The question caught me off guard. Yeah, I think so. What? There was a short pause on the other end. I heard the faint sound of a door closing. She had moved somewhere private. I was not planning to get involved. She said quickly. But I saw what Lenora posted this morning and I had to call you. My back straightened instantly. What did she post? Margaret hesitated. She deleted it after about an hour. But I saw it before it disappeared. My stomach tightened. What was it? A photo, she said quietly. A photo of her and Logan in bed. They were not doing anything obvious. But they were clearly naked under the blankets. The caption said, no more secrets, just us. The words twisted in my chest like a knife. Margaret continued speaking. Her voice sounded uneasy. She said she was finally living her truth. But that is not why I called. There is something else. I held my breath. She has been telling people a different story. She said slowly. She is saying you were emotionally unstable, that you were controlling, that you pushed her away, and that is why she and Logan became close. Of course she was. She was not just moving on. She was rewriting the past, turning herself into the victim, turning me into the villain. It was not enough to leave me. She needed to make sure everyone believed I deserved it. I rubbed my forehead slowly, but Margaret was not finished. There is another thing, she said. Last night she got drunk, and she told me something strange. My heartbeat quickened. What? She said Logan has been staying over for months. She said you already knew, and that you pretended not to notice because you were too weak to confront it. The glass of water in my hand slipped slightly. Water spilled across the table. Weak, spineless. That was what she truly thought of me. The placeholder. The man she could quietly humiliate again and again, and still expect forgiveness. But the worst part, a small quiet truth whispered inside my mind. She was not completely wrong. I had known. Maybe not the details, but the feeling had been there for months, and I had ignored it, because I believed if I loved her enough, she would eventually stop hurting me. That night I sat alone in my apartment, my laptop open in front of me. Lenora's social media page filled the screen. The photo Margaret mentioned was gone, just like she said, but the damage had already been done. Friends had commented, "Congratulations," heart emojis, inside jokes with Logan, like I had never existed, like the last 3 years of my life had simply evaporated. I scrolled through the comments slowly, my stomach twisting with every new line. Then suddenly, one comment caught my attention, a name I recognized instantly, Celeste Monroe, Logan's ex-girlfriend. Her comment was short, almost casual. Funny how history repeats. My finger hovered over her profile, curiosity mixed with something darker. I clicked. Her account was private, almost empty, except for one recent post from 2 weeks earlier. A screenshot of a text message. The message was from Logan. "Trust me, babe. She is just a backup plan. Always has been." For a moment the air left my lungs. I stared at the screen in disbelief. He was not only using me, he was using Lenora too. The woman who treated me like I was disposable was now just another temporary distraction in his eyes. The irony burned cold, and suddenly something inside my mind became very clear. I was not the only person holding evidence. I read that message at least 10 times, every word sinking deeper. She is just a backup plan. Not she matters. Not she is special. Just temporary. Disposable. Exactly how Lenora had treated me. A bitter laugh escaped my throat. Life had a cruel sense of symmetry. I leaned back in my chair staring at the ceiling. Now I had a choice. Walk away completely. Let Lenora continue living in her illusion. Or expose the truth. For a long time I sat there in silence. Finally I opened a message window and wrote to Celeste. "Hello. My name is Daryl. I think we were both involved with the same man. And I think we both got used. That was all. No accusations. No explanation. Just honesty." I did not expect a reply, but 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Her response was short. "You have no idea." Within the hour we were speaking on a video call. 2 strangers connected only by the same mistake. Celeste had blonde hair pulled into a loose ponytail. Her tired blue eyes carried the kind of exhaustion that comes from repeated betrayal. She did not sound angry. She sounded experienced, like someone who had already replayed this story too many times. "Logan has a pattern," she explained quietly. "Lenora is not the first woman he has done this with, and she probably will not be the last." "What do you mean?" I asked. "He studies relationships," Celeste said. "He finds couples that are already struggling. Then he slowly inserts himself into the cracks. He tells the woman everything she wants to hear. He convinces her that her partner is the real problem. And by the time she realizes what he is, she has already destroyed her old relationship. I felt cold, because every word matched exactly what had happened to us. The worst part, Celeste continued, he never stays. Once he wins, once the relationship becomes his, he loses interest. He needs the chase, not the person. I sat silently, every piece of the puzzle clicking into place. Lenora believed she had started a love story, but in reality she had simply become chapter 3. In a much darker pattern, Celeste was not finished. She had screenshots, voice messages, even a screen recording of Logan video calling her, while he was still dating Lenora. In the video he laughed and said, "I am just being patient. She is not ready to leave him yet." The date on the video, 2 weeks before that restaurant dinner. The same night Lenora demanded I apologize to him. I felt anger, relief, vindication, and exhaustion all at once. I thanked Celeste for telling me everything. I did not ask her to get involved. She had suffered enough already. But she surprised me. The next day, she posted the video publicly and tagged both Logan and Lenora. The chaos started immediately. Within an hour, my phone filled with messages. Unknown numbers, angry threats. Logan sent one message. "You better remove that. This is defamation." Then Lenora texted, "Daryl, please, we need to talk. It is not what it looks like." For the first time in weeks, I actually laughed. I ignored them all. But 2 days later, Lenora appeared at my door, soaked in heavy rain, mascara running down her cheeks, her dark hair tangled by the wind. And the first words she said were not, "I am sorry." She looked at me with wide, trembling eyes and whispered, "Why did you not protect me from him?" And in that moment I realized something crushing. Even now, she still did not understand. Rain poured down the street outside my apartment building. Cold drops slid from Lenora's hair onto the wooden floor of the hallway. Her mascara had run across her cheeks, leaving thin black lines like ink bleeding through paper. For a moment we simply stood there. She was trembling, not from the cold, from something deeper. "Why did you not protect me from him?" The question still echoed in my head. Felt almost surreal. I was the man she had replaced, the one she humiliated publicly, the one she erased from her new story. And now she was standing in front of me asking why I had not saved her. The weight of it knocked the breath out of my chest. Not because it shocked me, but because it proved something painful. Even now she was shifting the responsibility. I stepped aside slowly and opened the door wider. Mostly because the rain outside had started pouring harder, and I did not want curious neighbors watching the scene unfold. She stepped inside carefully. Water dripped from the sleeves of her jacket onto the floor. She looked around the apartment like she had never seen it before. The place had changed. The framed photo of us from last autumn was gone. The soft blanket she used to curl up in was folded neatly inside a box. Even the small clay mug she once made during a silly pottery class was missing. I had broken it days earlier during a quiet moment of frustration. Something I regretted afterward. "Daryl." Her voice cracked softly. "I did not know. I swear to God I did not know." Did not know what? I asked quietly. That he was lying. That he was manipulating people. That he was doing the same thing to other women. Her eyes dropped to the floor. I thought what we had was real. For a second something inside me softened. Almost pity. Almost. "I begged you." My voice rose for the first time in months. "I begged you to see what he was doing. I tried to talk about boundaries. You called me controlling. I tried to explain how it felt to constantly be pushed aside. You said I was insecure. I stood there while you dismantled everything we built together and handed it to him like a gift. Now you want sympathy." Her lower lip trembled. "I made a mistake." She whispered, "No, Lenora, you made a choice. More than once. You let him slip between us. You watched him tear me down. And you defended him every time. You even told me to apologize to him. Do you remember that? Silence filled the room. She did not answer. But she did not need to. The truth sat heavy between us. I saw the video. I continued quietly. The one Celeste posted. The one where he called you a backup plan. Her shoulders collapsed slightly. I did not know. Her voice barely existed. He made me feel seen. She whispered, I thought you did not want me anymore. You stopped fighting. I stopped fighting. I answered slowly, because I could already feel I had lost you. The room fell silent again. Two people standing among the ruins of something that once felt permanent. Why are you here, Lenora? I finally asked. She looked up. Her green eyes filled with tears. Because I do not know who I am without you. Those words struck deeper than anything else she had said. Not because they sounded romantic, but because they revealed the truth. She did not come back because she loved me. She came back because she was lost. Because Logan had already moved on. Because the applause from social media had faded. Because shame had finally arrived. I am not your cure, I said quietly. You threw that away the night you let him sit across from me at that dinner table. I walked toward the door and opened it. You deserve better, she whispered weakly. I just did not see it until it was too late. Until it was too late. I finished for her. She stepped outside slowly. For the first time. She did not argue. She did not beg. She simply walked away into the rain. I believed that was the final chapter. But the next morning something strange appeared in my email. An anonymous message. No subject line. No name. Just one sentence. Check his phone records. You will want to see who he was really calling. While she was with you. I stared at the screen for a long time. Felt like bait. The kind of message that pulls you back into chaos. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And my mind had already begun connecting possibilities. The problem was simple. I had no access to Logan phone records. But then I remembered something. Months earlier, Lenora had used our Wi-Fi password to help Logan set up a streaming service on his tablet. At the time, my instincts had told me something felt wrong. So I created a simple local router log to track connected devices. I never deleted it, just in case. Now that instinct returned. I logged into the router dashboard. And there it was. A device labeled Logan iPad Pro. It had been connecting to our network repeatedly. Even late at night. Even after I moved out. My stomach tightened as I scrolled through the timestamps. Each connection appeared between 11 at night and 2 in the morning. Over and over. And then I noticed something else. One specific night. The same night Lenora canceled a weekend trip we had planned together. There was activity linked to a call forwarding application. A service often used to mask phone calls through different devices. It also stored voicemail backups. Unless they were deleted. My pulse quickened. I searched through old cloud folders. Files that had automatically synced months earlier. Then I found it. An audio file. 2 months old. My hands trembled as I pressed play. Logan's voice filled the room. She is in the shower. No, she does not know I am calling. She still thinks I am keeping her busy. I will get the video. Do not worry. Just make sure she never sees the wire transfer. I have her completely wrapped around me. She thinks this is love. Then silence. I slowly lowered the phone. My entire body felt cold. This was not just cheating. This was something bigger. Logan had been working with someone else. Someone using Lenora without her knowledge. Later, Celeste helped confirm the name. Carson Vale. A man already under investigation for financial fraud. Logan had been using Lenora bank accounts as hidden transaction bridges. She had been manipulated into becoming part of a crime she did not even understand. I did not want to save her anymore, but I could not ignore the truth. So I gathered everything. Screenshots, logs, audio files. I copied them onto a USB drive and mailed them anonymously to Lenora Workplace. The envelope contained only one label: truth before it swallows you too. Days later, she appeared at my door again. But this time she was not crying. She stood beside a man in a dark suit. Private investigator. They had confirmed everything. Logan and Carson were running a fraud network. Lenora had been used as a financial bridge without realizing it. When she discovered the evidence, everything collapsed. She looked at me quietly. "I came to thank you, not blame you," she said. "You left with dignity, and you left the truth behind." For the first time during the entire ordeal, I felt nothing I needed to prove. She was leaving the state. A new job, a new life. Before leaving, she whispered one final sentence. "I am sorry, not because I got caught, because I finally understand what I lost." I nodded once. "I hope you find peace." Weeks passed after that. Silence slowly replaced chaos. No messages, no drama, just quiet mornings. I started walking through the park again. I reconnected with friends I had ignored during that relationship. I even picked up my old camera again. One Saturday morning, while taking photos near a lake, a woman stepped into my frame accidentally. "You are in my shot," I said with a half smile. She laughed. "Then make sure I look good." Her name was Elise, a graphic designer with warm hazel eyes and copper-colored hair. She loved dogs, morning coffee, and honest conversations. We exchanged numbers, and for the first time in years, I did not feel broken. Sometimes the most powerful ending is not revenge, not dramatic victory. Sometimes it is simply choosing yourself and walking forward, knowing exactly what you will never accept again. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.